Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here, and it is Monday. Before we get to the Happy Everything block for today, I must show you this beautiful wall of Dresden plates. Aren't they amazing? These were made by Kimberly Jolly and her staff, and if you'd watched her video a few days ago, you would have seen these, her live stream, and then she also has a full tutorial on how to make these. And Kimberly is such a wonderful friend. She said to me, would you like to borrow these so that you could show your community? And I'm like, yes. So she sent me these. And here's one, or here, I'm gonna have two of them up close. So this one is done with the Fresh Figs by Joanna Figueroa. I love the, look at the Fresh Figs favorites. Look at the center. Doesn't that look wonderful done like that? And then here's another one that is with Bunny Hill's Prairie Days. Look how cute that is with the rickrack. Look at the rickrack. Oh my goodness. And then she also put, Teresa made this one and put the little sticker on there. Who made this first one? They wrote who made them on here. This one's made by Teresa as well. Now, I am going to talk about this again tomorrow, on my video tomorrow, but I wanted to show it to you. And if you go to my website today, I have the video tutorial on there for you to reference. So that you can find it. But I want to go through tomorrow like all the different parts of it and talk about coloration, and these are done with Jolly bars and a few other tools. So we're going to do that, we're going to talk about that again tomorrow, probably for a few more days. I'm going to borrow them for a few days and then I'll send them back to Kimberly. Now the holiday celebrations, we are on the Liberty block, and that is right here, Liberty Hill, the Liberty Hill block. That's what we're going to make today. And here is mine. Ta-da! So I'm doing my whole quilt in the gray and yellow this time. So exciting, so exciting. Here in the book, I've got my spooky box marker, place marker in there. So here we go. That's what the quilt looks like. And I have it hanging in the wall, on the wall here in my studio on the other side of the table. So let's go over there. What I want to do is give you a little history about the background of my quilt that's in the book, Liberty Hill, and its variations and how it sort of got to here. Then we'll look at how you can duplicate this look, you know, what you need to look for to get it to come out similar to mine, but with whatever colors and whatever you're working with. Then we'll take a look at the fabrics for the block and how I went through deciding what fabrics I was going to use, because there's so many choices. I could have gone so many different ways with this block. But first, before we do any of that, I found this, which I had forgotten that I'd done, a single carat, like a little table mat or like a mug rug. Wouldn't this be cute at Easter time? You could put one by each person's plate with like their silverware on it, or across the top, like, you know, like here, and then the plate would be down here. Put their cup on it, their mug or wine glass for Easter. I forgot I had done that. I was getting this quilt off the stack to hang it up and found the bunch of the little things from that I'd done along with the book. So I just wanted to show it to you. Liberty Hill actually started out as a pattern of mine called Crush. So all the way top of Liberty Hill there. The pattern called Crush is just the inside, not this outer border. And I did that for a fabric line years ago. The block itself comes from a antique block that I saw. I saw this antique block and it had like a lot of inset seams, and I believe it had maybe some other structure within the block. But I started looking at it and I thought, well, if I eliminate this, change that, redo it so it's sewn like we sew today, I could have a really cool block. And ta-da, there it is. What happened was I made this in red and white, which hangs in my studio all the time. See, this hangs in my studio space above the cabinet over there, because I decided to take the half square triangles and use them. And I just created this border, and it was not in the original pattern. So finally, when I was doing this book, I decided that I would put this in the book so that you could have it all together and have the border part. So that's how the sort of backstory of this came to be. Now, if you want to duplicate this quilt or this style, so you get that same look and feel as my quilt, there's a couple of things I'll point out so that you can really make it your own and make it look very similar. First of all, there are 2 size dots, and that's really important for scale, because if you get 2 size dots that are too close together, they will not look different enough to give you this pop like it does. So I've got a fairly tiny scale. Let's just scroll in here. So I've got this fairly tiny scale right here, which from a distance almost reads kind of as a solid. You're not really seeing that tiny scale. This tiny scale of a dot on light is very easy to find. You're almost always going to find something like this. The next thing is the larger dot. So this larger dot needs to have some white space. It needs to have the dots floating. The dots could be bigger, they could be smaller, but what you want to have is that white space between them. So you don't want to, you want to have this fabric different enough so that they don't mush together. Now the next part is each of these has a print in the middle. So I took, for this quilt and for the red quilt, the red version of it, the star part of it is basically reading pretty strongly the color, pretty strong navy or pretty strong red, or if you're going to do green or gray, like I'm doing yellow and gray, be strong gray. So you don't want a lot of other colors in it. Now this one reads a little bit lighter. You can see the stripe up there reads a little bit lighter, and I like that. They still have the navy, but they read a little bit lighter, and there aren't many of those. Like I did the stripe again down here. So there's just 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Even odd numbers are more pleasing. Your eye is going to look around for that. Then the centers are all light based, but with some sort of design in them. And the designs are primarily blue. There's a little bit of red, like in this lighthouse one. But other than that, that's the only one. A little bit of green on the leaves in this one, but everything else is pretty much red. This one is the softest. It has a little bit more red with the C pattern. But even like the plaid there, it's got a lot of light, but a lot of the navy. So there's a good balance. And what I did is a couple of them I repeated, like the navy and the floral, and the C one I repeated, the roses I repeated, the lighthouses I repeated. I think I repeated just about everything, so it would be twice. And so that way you don't have to look for too many different ones, but if you had enough to do a different one in the middle of everything, that'd be totally cool too. I was going with a little bit of a sea theme here. So there's several that are nautical, like these, but the rest are not. So, and I don't think the one navy has a little bit of nautical stuff on it, but none of the other things do. So I didn't really pull that theme too strongly in there, which is nice. Called this Liberty Hill for the summer celebrations. You put it out in the summertime, see it out at the boathouse. Yes, totally cool, totally love it. Now what will I do for mine for the yellow and gray version? A yellow star, or, like here we go, I can see them here. So I can do the yellow star, and then I could do a gray center. But if I did that, I'd want to have the gray very light, because I don't want the gray to pop forward. I want the star point to be the stronger element, not the center of it. So that's important for how this look is as well. All of them, the outer, even when they're both light, like this one, the outer is still, very much shown there. You can still see it. So I want to keep a strong outer, which would make me vote for a gray, one of the grays down here, as the outer part, and then put a yellow in the middle, versus an all yellow or an all gray, such as this is sort of all blue. I want to do it with the 2 fabrics, but I could sort of blend around. Like if I wanted, like I have some fabrics here, there. So I have a lot of yellow and gray, but these would make a great middle. So like if I did like I wanted to do a really strong gray, all gray, this would be cool. Another one would be like this. These would be really great if I was going to do the block all with gray outside and a really sort of bold inside fabric. I could do the whole quilt like that, you know, pull a lot of these dark grays and then these lighter pieces with these incredible prints on them. That would be a really, really neat quilt. But I'm not sure if I want to go that, although I kind of like this. I kind of like this, where if I have the gray and then have this, which pulls a lot of yellow, and this sort of beadwork in the middle for my block, that would be a very good option. So I'm going to leave that one there as a good option. And I don't want to use, looking at the grays over here, I don't have a lot of dark grays. That's one thing that I'm a bit lacking at the moment. So like if I were to, here's some of this sort of a linen-y kind of stuff, that's also good. See, if I want to make it just not quite as dark as this one. Well, they're probably very similar. They are, aren't they? Sometimes that's what happens. That looks good too, but I think I might use this one. All right, so that's one option. Another option would be to use all of the yellow and not really have any gray in the middle, or if it was something with a lot of other pattern in it, like this has got the teal. See, this has got a teal. So here would be an option where if I used, if I wanted to maybe use this light gray with this teal, well then if I did a yellow around the outside, I would want something maybe a little stronger. So I'm looking through here. I would want maybe something that's a little bit stronger, that has, you know, not the real pale yellows. So go something deeper. Like here's one of the ones I used earlier. That's like a lighter yellow. This is a darker yellow. This is a sort of another cheddary yellow, but I don't think that cheddary yellow looks good on there. That's not the right color for that. I think this is a big piece here. Holy cow. So like this would work better. This does have a lot of green here. So not sure about that with this gold. Not loving that at all. That I'm not loving. Here's a gray. Look at that. If I put the gray in the middle and the gold on the outside, the problem is if I do this, let me pull this up so I'm going to show you. If I had this in the middle, I think it would just really pop out, like it would be more obvious than the yellow. So I'm not sure I want to go that direction. So if I was doing an all yellow block and wanted to use maybe this on the outside, I would take my cue then from what I had done up there and use something in the middle that was very light and didn't have as much pattern. So maybe this would be a combo. There is, yes, that's fried eggs. Doesn't everybody have fried egg fabric? Come on, you must. I could do a combo if I want to do all yellow. I could do the boats, the hats, and then go with this darker sort of cheddary yellow on the outside. So this one wouldn't be quite enough. See, it's blending. I would need to go darker like that in order to not lose the yellow. So there are a few options, and I think I'm going to go to this one because I really love that gray yellow here, and that will give me, from my other blocks, I have one that's, the carrots were, you know, primarily a light yellow, and then these guys have the gray and the yellow. So I think it can definitely handle the star being gray, which will be a much stronger, bolder gray than all the other blocks. The blocks haven't had quite as much gray yet. And I have to decide, I might just go with this linen-y one to be a little bit different, because I used this in the first in the heart. So I think I'll switch out and do this as my Liberty block for the quilt. I love how this came out. The gray is a little bit darker, which is nice because it pulls from the darker gray that's in the heart block for this sampler quilt for this guy. So I like that part a lot. If you want to see all the blocks together, you can go over to my website today. Link is down below, and in that article I show you all the blocks together. I had to take some Dresdens off the wall to put them up there. So I hope you are having fun with the Happy Everything. We are going to be sewing down this section so that we can assemble this, and then we will sew across here, so we'll be able to have that whole top unit. So that's the process that we're going. So next we'll be doing, I'll give you a piece block, and then we'll be doing like the sparkler and some of these things, and then be able to sew it all together. All right, my friend, it is time for a Liberty Hill block, and watch the video for the Dresden plates. It's super good, and we're going to be doing a little bit of that. So I love you. Mwah. See you online.